It is happy hour, and the CHGO Bears Podcast is here for you. We're getting you ready for the Vikings on Monday night. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Tyler Scott, they're all coming up. Stick around. It is the first ever happy hour show. That's what we do, baby. Bears playing on Monday night. You get the CHGO Bears Podcast. Friday at 5. Damn it. My name's Mark Carman. That's Nicholas Moreano. Lawrence Benedetto is so unbelievably pumped to be producing the show today.
So huge. Very exciting.
Yes. We are locked and loaded, man. We got Tyler Scott. We got DJ Moore. We got Cole Kmet. I forgot about Nick. You sat down with Josh Blackwell. We got audio from Blackwell. We had a busy day out at Hallis Hall. And look, welcome to everybody out there that is just of diehard levels that whenever this show pops up, you're there. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. Dan Wiederer, congratulations. Again, taking on the job of writing everything terrible that's happening with the Bears. Headline today in the Tribune: why does he get to save his job? Ryan Poles is in line to hire another Chicago Bears coach, but should he be? That started my day in a robust way. Nick, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, Mark. Yeah, it's a really in-depth piece, really good reporting, writing, and if you haven't checked it out, highly recommend it because it's enlightening with everything that's in there. And I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point in this show. But yeah, you sent that to me, and we're here. We covered a busy day at Hallis Hall too. There was coordinators, there were assistants, there was a practice, there was obviously open locker room. So a lot to go over in today's show.
Yeah, Alec Lewis is coming up from The Athletic in our second segment here as we're going to take the deep dive on the Minnesota Vikings. But before we get to what Alec thinks about the game, and of course we discussed that with him as well, Nick, what gives you confidence that 3 weeks after taking the Vikings to overtime, or just no confidence, we can go both ways here, that this could be the week on Monday night that the Bears end their now 7-game losing streak? Is there anything, as you've gone through your week and making your picks here, you know what, I think they might get it done?
Honestly, no, Mark. Today actually marks the 2 months since the Bears have actually last won a game back in London over the Jaguars. So as we were preparing for this week, for this matchup with the Vikings second time around, not confident because of last week. Had they been playing like they were against the NFC North, where they're in there right to the very end with some very good football teams, then I think we'd be having a way different conversation. But the way that they came out in San Francisco on all three phases, you know, except for Torrey Taylor. I think there's been a lot of praise for Torrey Taylor from Hightower and Thomas Brown, but outside of him, like, that team did not come ready to play. So I don't have confidence that this Bears team is better equipped to take down the Minnesota Vikings at home. They're going to be rocking their new uniform, the all white. It's going to be loud. Like, if you've ever been to US Bank Stadium, those fans will get rowdy, and especially because of how well this Vikings team is playing. So to answer your question, Mark, I am not confident that this Bears team will come out ready to play against a team that's still competing to get that 1 seed, to clinch up the NFC North. They're right there with the Detroit Lions, so plenty to play for.
Yeah, you know, I'm just battling in my head the question because I was hanging out at our Discord yesterday. Be a diehard, allchgo.com. Sign on up, $48, and a lot of Bears fans in there, or one in particular, but he wasn't getting a whole lot of pushback, is basically the Bears have quit. And I'm sitting there, my initial reaction, no, they haven't. They're professionals. They're not quitting. However, and maybe quit is not the exact right word, but when you look at the losing streak, you had the Hail Mary in Washington. Okay. Did they show up the next week in Arizona? Hard to make an argument that they did. Did they show up at home against New England? Hard to make an argument that they did. Did they show up last week in San Francisco? No one's making that argument. So in the 7-game losing streak, 3 of the 7, which that's nearly half, they just weren't there. That is, when you really kind of sit back and think about that, it's pretty damn alarming, honestly. And I mean, there's alarms going off everywhere, but I hadn't looked at it sort of that way, and it kind of registered with me that there's a little bit of, you can use the quit word here and not have it not be completely ridiculous.
Well, I think it's just tough to come back each and every day to work, and that's their job. They are professionals. To come back, though, and be locked in like you were the week previous after yet another loss gets added to the win-loss column. So I think it does weigh on you. I mean, Cole Kmet spoke earlier this week, and he talked about it, like going through the mental battles of this losing streak. Like, it is getting to these players, impacting them. And for Cole Kmet, he's, unfortunately experienced a lot of losses since he was drafted by the Bears. So I understand, like, this is difficult, but at some point, you need to show that you can not only handle these difficult times, because that's going to happen every single football season, but you got to come out on the other end with a W at some point, and you only got 4 more opportunities left in the 2024 season to do that.
Yeah, and Cole was talking today about a variety of subjects. We'll get to DJ more on this later, but my guy Patrick Finley from the Sun-Times doing a great job. He was doing a whole media tour today with players about, are you worried about your house getting robbed because Joe Burrow just got robbed? And DJ had some interesting things to say about that. But what I pulled out of Cole in regards to Minnesota, it was interesting. Like, hey, do you have confidence in playing the Vikings in that way? And then he actually said some really nice things about playing up in Minnesota. So let's hear a little bit of Cole Kmet about going up and playing the Vikings at that field that I believe Kevin Warren built.
Say you guys are close and are right on top of them, or the differences in records.
Yeah, I mean, I still think we matched up well with them again last time, and I think that there's a lot of things on film that we still felt like we could capitalize on, especially in the first half of that game, and obviously we came back during the second half, but I feel like if we can handle their pressure packages well enough and obviously establish the run game early, we can definitely get on those guys.
What about the difficulties of playing in that particular stadium?
It's loud. Yeah, it's loud, but it's my favorite stadium to play in. So I love going there. It's a blast to play in. It's a beautiful place to play, and I definitely enjoy it for sure. So it feels like you're like in a Game of Thrones set or something. I always enjoy it there. It's a lot of fun, and obviously their fan base is fantastic.
You like the horn?
I like the horn. I'm the sucker for the horn.
He likes the horn.
I like the horn too. I like the horn too. I like the whole skull chant, the artificial snow that drops in the beginning of the game. Like, it's a vibe. Just like that. It's a vibe if you've ever been there for a Vikings game. I will not lie and agree with Cole there.
I mean, I think it's big time that Cole admits it. Yeah. I like the horn. I like the stadium. Maybe we'll have one of those down here someday. US Bank Stadium is the reason why Kevin Warren is here. I just kind of like the little honesty. Yeah, no.
What would the Bears do? Would they like throw up a bear claw or something? Or would they like do a bear roar? I don't know. I mean, there's options here. You're using a bear. Wait, we got Braggs in the stands. Give me the bear raid siren.
Right. So it's and of course the public address announcer, which was way better when Jim Rebents was doing it. It's third down. Yeah, no, that is a vintage Braggs tweet or super or just regular chat right there, because of course he wants to like fly the Bears flag up when in reality we all know the horn's better. It's just better. It's cooler. It is. Admit it.
The Game of Thrones vibe. Yeah, I can see that too. And Cole obviously being into that. Like, yeah, if you're into that stuff, that is the perfect atmosphere for you. And especially when the Vikings are good, and they are. If you didn't know that.
Yeah, and to Braggs' point, by the way, what's cooler with the Bears? There's a timeout. Where? On the field. Oh. Now that was cool. But all right, I just enjoyed Cole being able to be a rational Cole. And then when they were asking about the stadium, by the way, I was standing in the background, doing my filming there, and I thought to myself, well, if you're talking stadium, then I should be talking it because I am the stadium guru. I am that guy. And I know that, if we're talking about stadiums in Chicago and all that stuff, it kind of spawned into that Cole really wants the stadium to be in Chicago. But I stayed out of it. We just focused on the Vikings, Nick, which was good. If we were going to pick out one thing that gives you any level of confidence that the Bears can get a win on Monday, give me one thing. I mean, we're going to talk about this with Alec Lewis, but Vikings do not stop the run. The Bears are second from the bottom and actually running the football. Caleb threw for 340, couple of touchdowns. Now, it didn't happen in overtime, but he brought him back in the fourth quarter. So that's, to me, the most interesting part about this game. Can Caleb and the offense be as successful or even more successful than they were last time after the Vikings saw him up close and personal now 3 weeks later, or do they completely shut him down? That, to me, is super interesting. But and what jumps to you, Nick?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the last time the Bears actually had a lead on the opponent was against the Vikings, and it lasted all of but 59 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So they had somewhat of a fast start there, or it was a start. They had a start to the game, which is better than what they have been doing. So I think for Thomas Brown this second time around, I think Brian Flores is going to bring a lot more blitzes. He didn't actually do that a lot in that first matchup. So it's going to be this ability to adapt. Chris Beatty spoke today, now the offensive coordinator for the Bears. And he said their ability to adapt has been the one thing that they've liked from this offense. So if you can adapt to how Brian Flores is going to adapt, I like that opportunity for the Bears in the second matchup. But like I said in the beginning, Mark, not feeling very confident because I think Brian Flores is going to come with a much more effective game plan to stop Caleb and these pass catchers. But we have to go with something. It's like they had a fast start the first time, see if they can carry that over and be even more efficient with how they played offense in this second time around.
Well, and I can report back to everybody that if you're worried about the Bears' energy level, don't be losing sleep over that. It is absolutely there. That locker room was alive and well today. Everyone seemed to be having a good time. The hot chocolate was available, which is a nice perk that the Bears players get. We don't have that. So they don't seem like a football team that is talking like Anthony Waldron in the chat here with I hit the like button, but I'm still depressed. We suck.
I think real quickly, like we were also talking to Jeff Joniak when we were kind of having this discussion, right? And I think a point to bring up, like, it is Friday at this point in the week, right? Where, you've had time to process your latest blowout loss to the 49ers. So at this point, like, you have to move on. You have to have those, I would think, higher spirits about what you could do on Monday night. So, but I would say this, like, the locker room's kind of been like that the entire season. When they were winning, when they were losing, as they've continued to lose, they've kind of had the spirits somewhat up throughout the week, and it's kind of doing the same here.
Well, and it makes me jump over, and I guess we should hold this conversation because we're coming up on our first little mini timeout here, as we'll get Alec Lewis from The Athletic in to preview the Vikings. But in Wiederer's piece, he underlines where the Bears were completely off in how they judged character, impact, just leadership, a lot of just swing and a miss, and like it's almost like they were wearing blindfolds as they went through not just the Matt Eberflus part, but more so the Shane Waldron search is what I'm zeroing in on. If you read the comments of what they said about Shane and the way it went, and then you listen to and you re-look at like what they said afterwards, Ryan pulls at his press conference. It just makes me wonder if there will be a good grasp as to who going forward in this locker room is somebody that you want character-wise to be around, and who are some of the guys that you want to subtract from the equation. Because there's no way, if you're paying attention, I think some things do have to change in that locker room, as well as just, that I think would have an impact down the line on the field. But first, before we get to Alec Lewis, indeed, I want to shout out our friends at Constant Contact. Let's talk about some goals for a minute here. You got to track yourself, right? If you're a business, you got to know where you're at. You got to know that bottom line. You got to know if you're close. You got to know why you haven't hit your goals. You got to be able to do a little deep analysis here. And look, I love the quote, if you think you can, then you can. Goals are powerful, and then you want to put them down so you can hit them. You have year-end goals. Constant Contact is what it helps to get you there. It's going to help you do it faster. You're going to sell more. You're going to raise more. You're going to build more genuine relationships with your audience with Constant Contact's suite of digital marketing tools, all made to fast-track your success. So it's time to go and get your 2024 business goals with email, social, SMS, customized marketing campaigns built for you in just a few clicks. It's still time left in the year here for those of you who are chasing. You can do it. Ready, set, go to constantcontact.com/all-city. Start your free trial today. constantcontact.com/all-city for your free trial.
For the best way to end 2024, you guys head to Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram and shop the Wrap Up the Year sales event to score some of the year's best savings on new vehicles before the clock strikes 2025. Hurry into the Ray CDJR to browse their huge inventory of new vehicles. And right now, celebrate the end of 2024 with $24,000 off MSRP on select new vehicles with a dealer discount, or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey with Ray's Price Promise. The numbers you're hearing now are the same price you can expect to shop in store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and more importantly, no hidden fees. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories, then drive home with more money in your pocket than you expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, serving the community since 1963.
We now turn to preview the Minnesota Vikings, who I guess are going to win the Super Bowl. They just can't stop winning games, and they're 11-2, and Sam Darnold's better than Patrick Mahomes. Might as well go there. Alec Lewis from The Athletic is with us. And Nick, you two have done the mobile thing. You Mobile, Alabama, hanging out. So I'm going to let you have the first question, since you guys have, done things late at night that I haven't done with either of you guys. I mean that in a weird but yet just hang out way. You know what I'm saying?
What a great intro. But yes, Mobile, Alabama, you're out there early mornings, late nights, kind of doing your thing. But, Alec does such a great job just covering the Vikings. So we had to bring him on to talk about, this matchup here. And Alec, I'll share a little quick fact with you. Since October 13th, the Bears have gone 0-7, while the Vikings have gone 6-2. Just from your perspective, what has it been like covering this Vikings team? Because Mark and I know what it's been like covering this Bears team.
Yeah, I don't want to make the listeners feel worse than they probably already do, but it's been an absolute blast. I mean, this is why, I was telling somebody yesterday, this is why you do the job. And I know, obviously we don't root for these teams. It is big journalism. You know how it goes. It is what it is. But when things are going well, and especially when they're going as well as they are without the expectations that they were going to go this well, and the fans are having fun and the readership is there, and the players are easier to talk to. It's so fun. I mean, I will never, regardless of how this season ends, I will never probably forget the moment at the end of Sunday's game at US Bank Stadium against the Falcons, which was an absolute rout against Kirk Cousins and their former quarterback. and the camera operator was just panning to all these different people. It was like Sam Darnold who's waving a towel. It's Justin Jefferson who was like making faces at the camera. It was just it was like a party at US Bank Stadium, and almost like a moment that was emblematic of just the celebration that has been this year, where you entered with very little expectation.
So how would you underline what exactly has happened with the Vikings this year? Darnold's, his last 3 games, he's got 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. And Jordan Addison's all of a sudden taking off. When we saw him a couple of weeks ago, the most yards he had in a game was 72. Now he's been over $150, $160 twice. But there's got to be a lot more to it as to how Minnesota's done this year.
Yeah, to me, it probably starts with once Kirk Cousins and Danielle Hunter departed in free agency, this team had some money to spend at that time. And I'd say Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator, and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, credit can be dispersed however they want to disperse it. But they targeted some very specific players for their defense in free agency. They acquired Jonathan Grenard, who has been an incredible edge rusher for them, Andrew Van Ginkel, who has also been unbelievable. Blake Cashman at off-ball linebacker has done a great job constricting space. They signed cornerback Stephon Gilmore, Shaq Griffin, Jihad Ward on the front. I believe, in a span of 3 days, it was 8 defenders that were all going to play meaningful snaps. And most of those guys have not only performed, but they're performing way beyond the valuation of what they paid them. And so that's really where I start. The defense and how much better it's been with the personnel this year has just raised the floor of this team. And then, I don't think you could have this conversation without talking about Kevin O'Connell and just how intentional he's been since he got here about building the right culture that is authentic to him, and not trying to build from a head coach's perspective what I think we all not projecting any narrative of what it should look like. He just did what he felt like was authentic to him in a way where he's really understanding of what players need. And so to me, it really starts with those guys, and then it funnels down to Justin Jefferson's ability to play within a team and care about his team. And there are just a lot of factors at play, but the improved defense, they rank in the top 5 in most every metric. And that's just been massive, especially early in the season when the offense was not humming the way it is now.
Alec, you talk about all the additions on defense. Obviously, the season Sam Darnold has had, what Justin Jefferson's been able to do, and Jordan Addison. What has been the most impressive thing about this 2024 version of the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, I'd say of late it's been Sam Darnold's play in moments that are high leverage moments. Early in the year, the Vikings, the format of how they were winning games was pretty similar. They would get up on the opposing team pretty quickly. It would be 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, 17-0. And so it felt like Sam Darnold in this offense was just playing downhill throughout the entire game. I'd say over the last 3 weeks, and it started in Chicago when they almost blew that game somehow, some way. Sam Darnold went 6 for 6 in overtime. And I almost felt like that moment and him seeing himself perform the way he did in that moment was almost like a checkpoint for him of I can do this when the leverage necessitates me doing it. And the next week against Arizona, the Vikings were not in control of the game throughout the entire game, but I think they were down 19-6 late in the third quarter. He charted them back. And then this past week against Atlanta, it was just a tour de force of pocket movement, of accuracy down the field, of big time arm talent. So I would say I have gotten the question 77,000 times this year of when is Sam Darnold going to become Sam Darnold who he always was? And I always laughed at that because I'm when is Sam Darnold just all of a sudden going to have Adam Gase now as his coach again, and Quincy Enunwa as his top receiver again, and an offensive line that was not built very well? And that's not shots at anybody. It's just the reality of the infrastructure here. And so I always felt like he would be better probably than the narrative was, but of late, the impressive part is he has gone above and beyond, I think, what I thought and probably what anybody internally would have even envisioned.
I hear you. way better circumstance, all that. But the dude's 27 years old. He ain't 35. And I know that, J.J. McCarthy's waiting in the wings. What do you think the Vikings do? I mean, I don't understand it. Like, yeah, we'll just replace it. I mean, dude, he's been incredible. Why would you get rid of him?
Yeah, it's been the question of the week over here, and it's funny because some people are like, why can't we just enjoy this? We have to already go to the future, and I'm like, guys, this is the psychology not only of media and how we operate, but also U.S. fans. That's how it works. I mean, to your point, like it becomes a very interesting question, and I start with, let's see how he finishes the season. I mean, that will dictate not only the Vikings' view, but also his overall market. If Sam Darnold, if somehow I am exhausted covering in New Orleans at the Super Bowl and beyond belief, I will be running on adrenaline and coffee only, then it's going to be hard for the Vikings to do anything but bring him back. I'd say, like, you guys know this just as well as I do because you're around the league. Like, paying a quarterback in that middle class amount of money makes it very hard to build a championship caliber team. Detroit is doing it kind of right now with Jared Goff. They've drafted so unbelievably that it's covered a lot of holes that they don't have to fill in free agency. The Cincinnati Bengals, even, you've seen what happened when they went from a rookie quarterback contract with Joe Burrow to now having to pay Joe Burrow what they do. And I think Joe Burrow is phenomenal, but it handicaps you with your entire roster build when you pay a quarterback a certain amount of money. So the Vikings will have levers they can pull. They're going to have the franchise tag if they want to use it. That would inject some turbulence into what has been a perfect relationship. So it'll be very interesting to see. You mentioned JJ. Like, every sign that I hear is that his health is kind of on the right path. But that's a bar that they're going to have to clear to be able to feel comfortable. So it has been the question of the week. I wrote a 1,500-word thing about it, and it was almost like me dipping my foot in the water probably for the conversation we might have.
Alec, I think we can't, talk to you without not mentioning and going in depth about Brian Flores. As you know, the Bears are going to be looking for a new head coach. Maybe it's a guy that the Bears consider, but you've been around Brian Flores. You see the impact he's had on that defense, what he looks for in his defensive players. What can you tell our listeners about Brian Flores and what he can bring to an organization?
Yeah. Brian Flores, I mean, the job he's done in 2 years here on defense is, like, based off merit. I can't imagine there's been a coordinator who's been more effective in terms of maximizing the talent that he has. And not only maximizing, but, like, I think the thing with Brian Flores that I would want to get across is it's not just like calling the defense on Sunday. It's not just teaching technique during the week. It is this overarching vision of, this is the way I want to play defense. These are the players that best fit my system. And then when they arrive in the building, evaluating how they look and then moving forward from that, okay, I'm going to put guys in the best. Like, every coach says it all the time. You hear it every press conference. We're going to put our best players in the best position to be successful. Brian Flores actually knows what the players do well and what they don't do well, to the point that he legitimately, that's how he operates defense. Now, I will tell you, like, he's an intimidating guy. He walks out to practice after everyone else, and it feels like he's ready for violence every single day. That's the way he is. You guys know. I mean, obviously there is the lawsuit at play, and then there is his past in Miami. But from like I said at the top, from a merit in terms of what he's done here and what he deserves, I mean, I really can't give him enough praise for the vision of guys like Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, fitting his system, making that happen, and then producing with those guys in the system the way that they have. It's been incredible to watch.
Do you know where that lawsuit sits right now?
I really don't. You guys know this. You talk to people around the league. You hear certain things at times. I had a conversation with a coaching agent probably a month and a half ago, and it made me think a certain. But that type of stuff is, I don't know. There's only so far you can push, as you guys know. Yeah.
All right. Let's just move, because there's at least 3 Bears fans out there that care about this particular game. Maybe it's just, from a gambling perspective. Look, the Bears can't run the ball. but the Vikings can't stop the run. That and Caleb threw for 340 with a couple of touchdowns against Minnesota last time. If you're the Bears, how are you trying to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, I would try to see if you could run from the beginning. I mean, the Vikings have not had Ivan Pace Jr., the off-ball linebacker, who is kind of like I don't know, like I compare him to like Bullet Bill in Mario Kart. He's just like everywhere. I don't really know like how he gets to where he does, but he does. And so I think trying to run with the success Arizona and the Falcons had these last 2 weeks, that would be where I'd start. And then, I mean, I defensively right now in trying to stop the Vikings, it is a puzzle that I feel for defensive coordinators, because the way that Jordan Addison is playing, like I looked this up yesterday. Next Gen Stats tracks like route running speed. He is running routes at a faster pace than anybody, including Tyreek Hill. It's just, he is at a level right now that makes it really hard when you double Justin Jefferson. And then if you want to cover both of those guys with two defenders, TJ Hockenson can feast underneath. So for the Bears, I mean, it feels like it's Caleb hero ball and then penetrate the interior of the Vikings offensive line defensively and turnovers, creating turnovers in whatever capacity is probably the route here.
The old hope for a miracle. All right, sweet. Kevin O'Connell 4-1 against the Bears. Okay. Hey, Alec, fill the blank. I don't know how well you know this part of it, but like the people, Minnesota Vikings fans think what of Kevin Warren? Like, do they even remember who he is? Is there any thoughts about him whatsoever? Because, you know, obviously he built that stadium up there, Alec. You wouldn't have that without Kevin, damn it.
Great stadium.
That's a little before my time. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'd say my perception is like he's on it. He's on top of it. He kind of knows what he's doing. I know that it sounds like there's like a lot of optics involved as well. That's just me talking. I don't know Kevin at all, so I don't want to. I really, it's probably not fair for me to say, but I mean, I know the stadium's beautiful. So if you build a stadium that looks like the one here, that'll be good. But the coaching hire seems to be pretty important, and he should probably get it right.
He probably should, yes. Nick, anything else for Alex?
No, but I mean, we didn't even get. I mean, there's so much we could still get into with Alec. You know, his fascination with Jimmy John's is one thing. I've definitely heard about that on all the podcasts. But no, I appreciate you coming on, Alec. And if for anybody who wants to get their Vikings coverage, you can follow him at The Athletic and also the Alec Lewis Show. Been listening to the past 2 episodes. You do a great job over there, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you for having me. Stay strong. My buddy Kevin Fishbane, I was texting pretty recently, and he's talking about off-season play. I'm like, I feel for you guys. It's gotta, like, I will say, I know the Vikings internally that they don't say this publicly, but their thoughts about Caleb are through the roof. So that's good.
And Fishbane really is just focused on the Wildcats and the Golden Gophers and getting a win there and getting back to the tournament for a 3rd straight year. So
you're exactly right. Yeah.
Thank
you guys.
Thanks, Alec. Appreciate it. And thank you to Alec Lewis. And thank you to Sunnyside as we go into the second half of the show here. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Sunnyside. You know it, you love it. Your favorite home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. A place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore and discover and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. If you're a pro, they've got you covered. 100 strains on the menu. New ones added weekly. You're going to love the Cresco, the Florical, incredible quality, super consistent, always the good stuff. Available now. They got the Good News LTO, disposable vapes, 5, 10, 110 cards. They've got some live resin gummies for you too. All the good stuff. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter that promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day. Only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders.
Whether it's pro or college, you guys, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it all. Gives you a lot of options there. and you can fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. So what you got to do is download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. I'm a guy, Nick, as you know, that likes to put my money where my mouth is. You know, every day you walk into CHGO and you talk about your ping pong game and how great you are. And I say, bring it on, Nick. And then, you know, you walk out disgruntled. And then there's this other guy, Greg Braggs, who talks about his golf game. And then I say, bring it on, Greg. And then I lose to Greg on the golf course. But, you know, that'll change come this summer when I put a little more time into it, just solely to beat Greg. But I have been campaigning, is the point of all this, for my guy Tyler Scott to get more of an opportunity down the stretch here. Great attitude, hard worker, has speed, second-year player, fourth-round draft pick. Bears are 4-9. Why wouldn't you want to play your young players? So with all that, and I've been, built a relationship with Tyler. So I went up to him today and said, hey, would you be willing to talk to the people about, what it's been like going through your second year and not playing at all? And he graciously agreed. And so here you go. Here comes number 10. And you check out for yourself the attitude and what he's been doing to hopefully get himself an opportunity at some point with the Chicago Bears or, elsewhere in the NFL.
My man, Tyler Scott. I've been out there saying, let's get 10 some run here. How you been handling just staying positive through not getting the playing time you've obviously wanted?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely definitely frustrating, can be, and especially we're losing as well. We've lost losing streak now, and you're not getting an opportunity necessarily to contribute when you feel like you can. But I guess that's how this thing goes sometimes. But one thing Coach Brown has been kind of really teaching, lately is really just controlling the controllables. And that's what I can do. And also he's kind of talked about how do you deal with adversity as a man and, how it makes you a better man. And do you run from it or do you run into it and through it? And so that's kind of been my mindset, just kind of staying positive, understanding like, all right, I'm in this situation. How do I can still perfect my craft, as a receiver, and even other areas as well. How do I can still stay on top of my game, even though I haven't been playing as much as I'd like to. If somebody goes down, how do I stay prepared so when they do come down, I can show what I can do. So I think the biggest thing is just staying mentally positive. Of course, I went through my stage of like frustration and anger, but that only gets you so far. And so then it just comes down to, all right, what can you do to continue to perfect yourself as a man and as a player so when the opportunity does come, you can show what you can do.
Give me 30 seconds behind the scenes, what you've been working on.
Oh, my gosh, man. I've been working on catching kicks, passes. I've been on the jugs lately, probably about 3 times as much as I was last year after every practice. Mentally, I think my mental game has been it's definitely elevated from last year to this year, even though I haven't played as much and seen as much, but I still take advantage when I'm on scout team, when I'm with the ones, just taking, mental reps and things of that nature. So definitely mentally, my game is definitely, skyrocketed for sure. Just trying to do really just all the little things that it takes to be a good player.
Long year, but let's go for even longer career.
Appreciate it.
10 times coming. Appreciate it.
So there we go. Trying to be a better player, but also be a better person, handling adversity. We all go through it in different ways. No one's going to have a pity party for anybody in the NFL, but it's got to be challenging, to not play and wonder if you're going to get your chance to do it at any point. And these careers are awful short. And if you get, put in a corner where you don't get an opportunity, you can be out of the league real quick. Any reaction to any of that, Nick?
Yeah, no, I've always appreciated Tyler Scott and just the maturity he's had with, these difficult things. And right now, we haven't seen him on the field for a very long time. But, just based on the interview you had with him, Mark, like he's approaching it the right way. And he's taking the coaching that he's getting from Thomas Brown and applying it so that when he does get that opportunity, I love what you said at the end, like it's a long career. You can have a long career. This is just the 1 year here, right? So if you apply that mindset for Tyler, he's got something that not a lot of guys have speed, but Tyler Scott has some difference making speed. So if he gets his opportunity, like that would be a good way for him to get on the football field, stretch the field vertically. But also, there have been some injuries here, and DeAndre Carter going down has also presented some opportunities for other players to kind of step up. And, I had a chance to talk to Josh Blackwell today, who was the guy who filled in for DeAndre Carter after he left with his injury early on in that San Francisco 49ers game. But here's what he had to say about one getting that opportunity to be the punt returner and why it's so difficult to be in that position in the first place.
Josh, we just got done hearing from Richard Hightower, and obviously you finished the game after DeAndre left. What kind of opportunity is this for you to kind of continue doing what you're doing? I know we talked even before the season about you and your opportunity. Yeah, so what does it mean to kind of, I guess, get this opportunity to do that?
Any opportunity is a good opportunity, right? I've caught punts in college, so it's not that it was anything new, but DeAndre went down. AC walked up to me, he was like, "You gonna catch punts?" I'm like, "Cool, got it." And it wasn't any kind of like a pressure thing or anything. It was kind of like just go out there and do your job, right? So for me, this week and moving forward, it's just like same thing, right? Like it's just go do your job. You know what I'm saying? It's a good opportunity for sure, but you just gotta go out there Sunday, Monday, and just do what I do best.
Do best. And Josh, the one you fielded in the 6, it's like Richard was saying, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
As a return man, when you got to make a split decision, like that's obviously one of the challenges. But when you look at the position as a whole, like what makes being a punt returner a challenging thing?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have, for lack of a better word, you got to have balls be back there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, with that specific play, like, he was right at the 10, and I guess when the ball's in the air, like, I don't really feel myself backing up. I was backing up, clearly. Like, I didn't feel it. Like, it was one of those things, like, I felt like I maybe took maybe one step, caught it. But learning opportunity. But I feel like it's just, the biggest thing is just to catch the ball, right? Because just the ball getting down, whatever happens, between the whistles happens, but just as long as you protect the ball at the end of the play, that's what matters.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, Josh.
There's Josh Blackwell talking about, obviously getting an opportunity to be the punt return and difficulties with it. And, this is a guy that he didn't practice today, but I have a feeling on Monday you're still going to see number 39 back there. But I think that's, Mark, with such few games left in the season, a lot of young players on this roster, like you got to look at it at this coaching staff. I know you want to win games, but it's also a great opportunity to give players opportunities to show what they can do on the football field.
Yeah, and look, the Bears are still building a culture. All right? And so who you give playing time from this point forward, and I'm not saying they have a ton of cancers in there, but I'm also saying that some guys go about it the right way a little bit more than others. And you have 4 games to play with that do not matter in the win column. You are better off at this point if you're the Bears losing because you want the draft pick versus winning games right now, even though it'd be awful sweet for the guys to end the 7-game or however many game losing streak it'll be. That would suck to go in the offseason. I get it, having lost 11 in a row. But look, my point is play the guys that earn to be out there in practice, in meetings, going about it the right way, who really show they want to be there, versus perhaps some vets who simply don't. The Bears bent over backwards to try to get Nate Davis to come correct. Mm-hmm. All right? Signed him to a huge deal, which was insane. And then just bent your mom passed away, or whatever, personal tragedy, got it. But then there was it went on for a long time, and then all of a sudden this year, finally it took him saying, "Yeah, my back hurts," for them to cut him. You need to realize where you're at right now. And right now, for me, what was that thing by Mike Singletary? I need winners. The Bears need winners. All right. And I would be looking at guys like Josh Blackwell, Tyler Scott, dudes that are going to go out there and give 150 because they're trying to prove something. That's who I would want on the field the final 4 games.
I mean, you look at the opportunity that Matt Pryor's got because of Nate Davis's inability to, one, be on the football field and play at a high level. Like, now you're kind of seeing what he's capable of doing. And not that he's like a long-term starter for the Bears or should be viewed that way, but you're getting better minutes, better playing time, better production out of a guy that wasn't pegged as a starter because that one guy who was there in Davis lost that opportunity. So you don't know what you don't have on the roster until you see it, right? So guys that maybe on the defensive line, like we've seen Austin Booker here and there, but even getting more run for a guy like that, who obviously you drafted, you liked, is still developing. Like, this isn't a good opportunity to go and face some of these NFC North teams and see what he's capable of doing.
100%. Look, for whatever reason, you kept Domrod around. Domrod's a good dude. Play him. Let's go. These are decisions that they can make. And I asked Eric Washington today, and he is, sort of military almost, come correct, do his dudes, go about his business every single day. And, hey, what about, as far as the defense goes, are you satisfied with the physicality? Do they need to hit harder? And he said, yes, that's not an issue. And I didn't press it because, it's his opinion. I'm not going to get him to change it. He's whatever. But I'm just like, I don't know, man. Everybody saw guys making business decisions at the goal line. I went up to Jack Sanborn today and talked to the Sand God about his moment with Garendo, where the guy, he gets beat on the play. The guy catches at the 5, rolls to the 1, and then he finally touches him. And he didn't really have. He's like, at that point I was going for the ball. I just kind of wanted the whole playback, to be honest with you. These are not normal plays for guys, historically in their career. So I'm not exactly sure what point I'm trying to get at, other than the fact that it's a heavy lift right now to come correct every single day when you've lost 7 in a row and there's massive changes coming and you're playing for pride. So those who can prove that they're actually doing it should be rewarded in spades as far as playing time the rest of the way.
I agree with that, Mark. And, I also asked Eric Washington a question about just the defense's ability to set the edge, because we've been seeing some problems with that for the Bears defense. And he said, one, very inconsistent. So when I hear that, it's like, well, then put players that are going to be more consistent at setting the edge. Maybe the guys that are currently in there are not doing it to the best of their ability. So if there are guys that are in that second wave of rotation, let's see what they can do. Obviously, you don't know what play is going to go and attack whatever edge on any given moment in a game. But when he said it's very inconsistent, then one, I guess, why is that the case? Are you guys not coaching it correct? Are the players not taking the coaching right? And if there are players that can do it better, let's see them in there. Again, with 4 games left, yes, you would love to see a win if you're a player in that locker room, and as a Bears fan, I'm sure. But you still also need to have these guys that are going to be on your roster next year who haven't seen the playing field all too much, get out there, see what they can do in this defense or on offense, special teams, whatever it may be.
By the way, 5:48 here on a Friday. I just want to say cheers to all the great CHGO Bears fans. I busted out the Angel Envy today, high level. This was a gift from one of our diehards at our golf outing. I hadn't opened it until now. So here it is. Cheers to everybody out there. So fresh, so delicious. It's a Friday. Let me, it was interesting, this whole Pat Finley going down you're worried about your house getting robbed, which is not a joke. I get it.
Yeah.
These are your possessions, and more importantly, like, people's families are at home or someone's at home. So this was DJ Moore talking about how, if he's taking it seriously, if he's not taking it seriously, what's going on at his house. And let me tell you something. DJ Moore, he's like borderline James Bond here. This dude ain't playing. So this was the Bears' number 1 receiver, number 2 on his jersey, DJ. Don't mess with DJ.
I think Kelsey and Mahomes did too. Do you worry about that when you guys play games on national TV?
Yeah, you definitely got to worry about it, but you got to do some deep diving to figure out where I'm staring at.
Do you take, are there precautions that you take?
Yeah, my house is wired like the Batcave, so you ain't getting, if you touch the house, you're getting alerted.
In all seriousness?
If you touch the house, it will alarm.
How disconcerting, though, that this is happening?
it was happening before, but now it's happening in big names, and it's a big matter. So I'm taking it serious.
Is it something football players would talk about?
I mean, nobody want to talk about their house being broken into. But, I mean, it's something to talk about at the end of the day because, I mean, our families are there, or whoever you got standing there to watch your house. People come in with whatever they got and can do whatever.
So, you know, I've talked about this on the show a million times. Growing up, I knew where Michael Jordan lived. We went to his house. When they won in 91 first championship, me, Tom Bear, and the great Benny Levy went to his house and waited for him. Now, and everybody went on, and he pulled in his driveway with his white Porsche, MJ, JJ, Michael Jordan, Juanita Jordan, and everybody looked at him like cross-eyed, like, what the hell do we do now? And then he just stuck out his hand, and everyone went up and shook his hand. He said, "Thanks for coming."
Wow.
You know, and he would. There's video and airtime that of him throwing the football with the kids in the neighborhood. It was, Ahmad's like, I could throw it 65 yards and we can mark it off. And they marked it off down the street. I mean, 3 years later, he's got a gated thing that just sold for $9.2 million. He tried to get $29 million for it. Whatever. My point is that, I don't know, man. Society was like a little more calm back then. You could go to MJ's house. Now, Joe Burrow goes and plays a football game and people are robbing his ass. And here's DJ saying, "You touch my house, you're in deep trouble." And by the way, nobody knows where I live. I'm deep undercover. I'm DJ. Different times, Nick. That's my big point here on a Friday.
Definitely different times. Wasn't it not too long ago that Joe Burrow said that he bought like the Batmobile replica thing? Maybe when you put that out there, it's like, oh, Joe Burrow's got that in his, mansion somewhere. I want it. And, people suck. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that DJ's house is very secure and who knows where it's at. But you got to take precautions because there are some crazy people out there. But, yeah, I think I was having this conversation with somebody not too long ago. It was like, back in my day, now that I'm 30, Mark, I think I can like say that now. Back in my day, it was simpler times where you could, go out and hang out with friends until nighttime and, you'd be fine.
Yeah, and listen, the way things are going right now, it's possible that, Greg Braggs is going to come home and some Yahoo is going to be just floating around in his pool next summertime. There's going to be a dude that's just going to be hanging out with a Diet Dr. Pepper that's not Greg Braggs and just making himself at home in Bragg's pool. And then what are we going to do?
He's going to take up a spot in the cul-de-sac.
He's
to the back.
He knows there's tons of parking. He knows when he's on the CHGO Bears podcast. He knows that there's some weird memorabilia in his garage. No, I'm going too far. But I mean, this is on the table.
It's not off the table. Definitely not off the table. It's definitely on.
Yeah, and how dare you say that did you get this glass from the Queen of England? This glass is a wonderful glass, and I have no idea where the lovely girlfriend Jackie came up with this thing, but this is what was easily available. Drink's the same, buddy. You don't need to have that beautiful, neat glass or whatever you guys, right here.
It's unique. It's different. And that fits you, Mark.
Yeah, I got style. On our way out here, Nick, I wanted to give some love to one of our great fans, and his name is Rodney Dent. And Rodney just became a diehard. And Rodney, certainly, he's in the chat sometimes as Furious 36 because he is furious. And it's not perfunctory for Rodney, excuse me. Because Rodney, he remembers Richard Dent. He only sees imitation Dents. Austin Booker, somebody said he was Richard Dent. He ain't Richard Dent. And also, Rodney, this guy's got a great dog, just like Poppy. And Poppy and him and his dog could be friends. And he's a former sergeant in the U.S. Army, and he studies sociology at VCU. I used to study geography at North Carolina. So shout out to Rodney Dent, one of our diehards, Nick. We appreciate you, Rodney.
That was great. I'm sure Rodney appreciates that. And if he's not watching now, when he sees this later, I think he'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah. Rodney, I apologize that it took so long. So you got a little extra here as I stalked you and found out everything about you, which was great fun. Riley Rather, I tell my therapist about Michael Carm.
That's amazing.
Hey.
So you're telling me there's this podcaster who's named Mark Carman, and he impersonates Jordan with an accent that it's questionable to not sounding like Jordan.
Yeah, no, believe me. I mean, I am kind of spelling MJ's name, but it's a synergism of love is what everybody knows. $2 to the super chat here from Arctic. Told you that we're worse off without Justin Fields. Thoughts. My thoughts. Go ahead, Nick. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, thoughts is way different. Whatever. No, just no. They're not way worse off without Justin Fields. The quarterback play hasn't been spectacular for the Bears this season, but it's also a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams after having his first offensive coordinator fired and then having 3 total offensive coordinators in just 14 games. That is not the ideal situation that you want to have during your rookie season. So they're not worse off now that Justin Fields, the backup in Pittsburgh. They'll be just fine with Caleb. He is going to be just fine.
And hold on, Arctic. First of all, you got to swing in like life, Arctic. And you had the number 1 pick. Dude was consensus generational. Everyone would have taken him. So if they hadn't had the 1 pick, if Carolina was doing what you were placed at 6, you'd still have Justin. So this was a swing. And listen, if Matt Eberflus guards the sidelines, you're 5-2. All right. And maybe you actually show up in Arizona, and maybe you show up against New England, and maybe you're in a playoff chase. I don't want to put it all on the Flus's doorstep, but the Flus has a lot of this.
And the field goal that gets blocked by Green Bay, you're winning that game too if it doesn't get blocked.
It's true. So I mean, it's gone, as we all know, horrendously wrong. And as we get to the top of the hour here, and appreciate everybody checking out the Friday show. Look, Wiederer's piece today, he really just underlines how poorly the Bears have made decisions with the coaching staff. And I mean, their comments about Shane Waldron, the second interview that we had with him, we just knew that this was the guy. I'll give the exact quote. When you have an elite teacher like Shane, he's able to make the complex simple and the irregular regular. That's what Flus told the Trib last spring. That's what an elite teacher does. And he's able to do that with a complex offense. The dude was the exact opposite. Polls to the Trib last spring. Through the interview process, I was blown away by his communication skills with us. Can you now imagine that comment? I didn't want to talk about this, but I just fell into it. Blown away by his communication. I was blown away. This is the worst communicator of all time. His first press conference, I was like, oh my God, this can't be the guy. I was completely blown away. The general manager of the Bears was blown away in a good way. That is stunning. Absolutely stunning. How could you possibly be blown away? But we were blown away. Dude. Let's not be blown away in the offseason by you being blown. What? Yeah.
I mean, to say that about Shane, it's insane now at this point. It's insane.
I mean, y'all talking about going to your therapist. Like, I'd go to my therapist that he's blown. George McCaskey should be dialing up BetterHelp. What? You were blown away by that? Okay, I'm blown away. Hey, Nick, you're going to be at practice tomorrow. Saturday.
Yes. Will you not be joining me, Mark? Is that what you're saying?
Adam Hogue does the schedule around here, and he didn't put me down. But you know what?
True.
I'm probably going to be there, buddy. I don't miss. Listen, I got to practice what I preach. You're talking about. Yes.
What is Jeff Joniak going to say? That's 2 days in a row. He's going to lose his mind.
That's my guy.
He's great.
He really is. So maybe Nick and I will do something special, video-wise, little special thingy on Saturday for you because it's normally a Friday, or we'll just get some video or whatever, tweets, something out from practice day because it is a weird week. Monday night, stay up late with us. And I guess we're wrapping up the week here, Nick. This is it. No Sunday show. You gotta wait a long time to be in front of these mics again. I'm starting to get emotional. But I'm sure Greg Braggs will be on Spaces tonight, so check him out at 2 in the morning when he's talking to you and Mubs and Bubs and Scubs and
everything that rhymes.
Whoever else is in that thing. It's an amazing accomplishment. Thanks for watching. Rodney Dent, you're the man. Appreciate you being a diehard. And Lawrence Badeno, thank you for producing today. Appreciate that as well. The Cubs had a huge day today, busy day at CHGO. Great coverage by our CHGO Cubs show. A big stuff coming on CHGO White Sox this next week too. A little teaser there. Some Sox news that we are going to be in the know on. So for
Bulls pre and post coming up soon.
Bulls pre and post. The Charlotte Hornets. Thank you. My bad. 6:30 pre-game, and then of course post after the Bulls take down the Hornets at the United Center. I was going to go to that game until we had a 5:00 show, but I'm happy to be here with you, Nikki. All right,
it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a good one. We'll see you guys soon. Have a great rest of your weekend.
We all silly like the mayor.